All right, well, let me read what I wrote in preparation for this evening. Just spontaneously came before, and you'll see what I was talking about when I say that this is what is in the space of consciousness tonight. To realize true nature, what you are, be willing to recognize what you are not. Are you willing to recognize what you are not? Your attachments are to what you are not. Every object in the world, you are not. Every thought that comes and goes, you are not. Every emotion that comes and goes, you are not. Every sensation that comes and goes in the body, you are not. Every memory and plan for the future that you have, you are not. Keep quiet in observance of all of these. Now ask yourself, what remains? This pointer is a very potent form of practice, a very potent form of sadhana. And the reason it has such great potency is because it asks you to question every experience, every idea, every concept, every thought, every memory, every plan that you have for later. And it asks you to come here into this moment. And it also provides the vehicle. Because if you realize in a moment that whatever you were thinking about or whatever you're experiencing, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant or it makes no difference to you, whatever is going on in that moment, as soon as there is a remembrance, oh, that's right, I am not that. I'm not this movie that's going on in my mind. I'm not that voice in my head. As soon as you remember that and you come into this presence of here now, you step into the timeless awareness that's before all of your experience in body, mind, and world. It doesn't invalidate that experience. Okay, we're not into denial here. We're not pushing away the experiences that come to us. We are simply recognizing that whatever is happening, whatever we are experiencing in terms of experience, concepts, emotions, and so on, all of this is happening in the mind. It's all happening as a mental interpretation of some stimulus in the senses, whether it's pleasure or pain. or neutral, whether it's a good thought, a bad thought, a pleasant thought, an unpleasant thought, whether it's a pleasant emotion, an unpleasant emotion, all of this is there, it's happening. But to whom? Is it happening to somebody? Or is it happening as an object of awareness? If it's happening to somebody, some personality is there. If it is happening to me, it feels solid. I must do something about it. But if it's just passing by, and who I really am in truth is that one which is aware of it, then do I really need to do something in relation to it? What if I just observe? What if nothing is done? There is not a situation which will not change. There's not a sensation which will not change. There's not a feeling, an emotion, a thought which will not change. There is only one thing which never changes. And to discover this is to realize your sadhana, that which never changes, is before I, before me, before mind. And it rests here now. It's not somewhere else in some future time. It's what is aware of the thought, the emotion, the sensation, the experience. It doesn't invalidate the thought, the feeling, the emotion, and experience. It simply recognizes that that which I am in truth, my true nature, is that which is here, silent, observing, aware. When this is going on as a natural expression of who you are, when you are firm and stable in this recognition, then what happens is life unfolds in its own way, in its own pace. And because you have no fear, you have no attachment, you have no desire for it to be this way or that way, you very quickly come to see the way that things are going is the perfect way. As uncomfortable as things can be, they will change. As pleasant as things can be, as thoughts can be, as desires can be, they will change. They will not stay. You are that which stays. You are the foundation for all that comes and goes. Each and every one of you is a point of reflection for the great mind of being, for the great self, for the experience of the self. Come to know who you are so that you can enjoy completely the passing of everything that is in your life at this moment. The comings and goings without identification. Knowing that you are the peace and the calm. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to become, no one you need to be. You simply need to know that you are here and that life itself is manifesting in this moment. And you are its vehicle. So let go. Hello, John.
Good evening, Rishi. Nice to see you all.
Hello.
In witnessing what I understand at this time to be awareness mixed with my thoughts and emotions, there's a kind of spaciousness as I sort of move between one or the other, as I recognize there's something I need to consider and think about, go deeper into the thought to figure it out for a moment. Maybe where I'm interfacing with the world in some way, and then moving back to something that's more aware and just the mm, incarnate sensation of life. And I don't know if this equates to uh, a healthy practice or not, but I mean, that's kind of where my question is going. There can be some confusion in that process, particularly where I meet uh, the expectations of the rest of the world, meaning uh, the rapidity and the I don't really know how to describe it, but I find myself feeling some confusion or insecurity sometimes in those interactions as I'm trying to sort out my sensation, the emotions and thoughts that come with the interaction, mixed with just the simple trying to be aware and present with it. So I guess my question is that a normal experience, or is that something that I should be or could be approaching in a way that was healthier? That makes sense?
Yes, and both of those things are true.
Oh.
Um, it's a normal experience in the sense that as long as we are identifying ourselves as a body-mind experiencer, then there's this tendency to want to figure things out or to understand something or to get it right. Whatever it is for you, each of you as an individual, you have different stories about why you go into this kind of outlook. But you don't need to go there. It's if you drop what I might refer to as the problem orientation to what your experience is, in other words, you don't assume that there's something to understand, to know, to figure out, to make right, to, yeah, correct in some way. If you don't do that, then you simply go into, then you are in the experience when you're in it. And then you say that there's this moment where you feel confusion. And then suddenly there's this moment where you work your way back through that into some sense of awareness. The bridge for all three of those experiences, which is, this, I'm somehow being a different being when I'm engaged in this way in the world than I'm being when I'm confused, than I'm being when I'm aware. You have to lose that orientation. There has to come to this moment where there's a recognition that the pristine awareness, which is there in your moments of meditation, which is there in the clarity of your own being when you are feeling centered and present as presence itself, is also there behind that sense of confusion that can rise up from a particular experience. And it's also there when you are acting spontaneously in that experience. Say you're interacting in some way with the world at work or in a relationship or something, and you're interacting spontaneously in that moment. In all three of those situations, there's only one common thread, and that's the awareness itself. You don't know about awareness itself unless you are aware. You don't know about confusion unless you are aware of confusion. You don't know about what the tension, let's say, that's going on in your life, in your work relationships or your home relationships or whatever, unless you are aware of them. When you start to take on this orientation that I am that which is aware in all of these circumstances, you start to get greater and greater distance, but it takes some time before one comes to this place where there's the recognition that awareness is here under all circumstances, in all situations, with all thoughts, with all emotions, with all states of mind. The prior condition is awareness itself. Without awareness itself, in its pristine condition, nothing in the confused, dazed condition is knowable at all. So when you take up this kind of sadhana, take it up not anymore from the position of needing to figure out what just happened or what is happening or how to solve the problem, but rather from the position of awareness itself will solve this situation in its own time and in its own way. And when I say awareness itself, I don't mean you won't talk. I don't mean you won't argue. I don't mean you won't get involved in some stickiness in a relationship. I'm not saying that you won't interact. I'm saying it's not necessary for you to understand what's happening. This is very difficult for people.
Especially in these moments of interface with expectation, ambition, all those forces.
Cultural prerogatives. Yeah, all those cultural prerogatives. Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
I run it the hardest. And it's my
Yeah.
own reflection to it, I think reaction to it that generates the confusion in me trying to stay centered and
So then the
navigate.
question is, when you say I'm trying to stay centered, what are you doing?
For me, it can be varying degrees of difficulty, but based on the intensity of the moment, but it's letting go, kind of remembering or recalling these ideas that uh, that this will unfold as it should
Yeah.
and or needs
Good.
to, however you want to put that, and to just kind of try to move my attention into my body and
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
my senses of the moment, and then begin to proceed again with whatever transaction I'm engaged in.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, this is the way of interaction with your own sadhana. So yeah, continue with that in that way, and I will just support you in that by letting you know that that does this willingness to keep coming back and to keep coming back into that which is aware and keep coming back into presence. This builds a foundation for further stabilization, for further realization of presence, for further recognition of being consciousness as time goes on. So just keep going. But now keep going without the expectation that you need to understand something, figure something out. Just dance the dance in the way that it's happening. Do the best you can. Be kind to yourself and keep coming back to this remembrance. Oh, that's right. I'm not that. I'm not that. What am I? Oh, I remember now. I'm that clear awareness, yes. Behind this confusion, there is awareness, there is consciousness. Behind this experience, there is awareness, there is consciousness. Keep doing that over and over and over. This builds that firm foundation that over time, for those of us that have been involved in this process that I call gradual enlightenment rather than sudden enlightenment, this builds that firm foundation. So just keep coming back. You
Thank
know
you.
who you are. It makes no difference if you momentarily forget. So be very kind to yourself. You know who you are. Now, remember.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. One of the most challenging things for people in sadhana is that this can appear to take some time. And if you listen to some people in the neo-advaita schools and in some of the other schools of the traditions, you will hear that it doesn't take any time and you are already that. So stop paying attention. But this is not really what is needed at the moment. When the mind is reaffirming a tendency, reaffirming a conditioning, it's not helpful to be told that it's meaningless. So don't give it any energy. Can sometimes sound like an advaita, like that's what we're saying. But the truth of the matter is, everything needs to be used. So we need to find a way. We need to understand where we are. We need to understand when a samskara is here, when a form of conditioning is here. And we need to know, I am not that conditioning. I'm not that confusion. This is an intermediary step. I understand that. And for the neo-advaitins among us, this might not be a necessary step. But for many people, it is a necessary step. So that's why we talk about it, that it's necessary. When you are confronted with a form of conditioning, you don't deny it. In Tibetan practice, they say when the demon approaches, invite her to sit on your knee. And this is the implication that I'm talking about here, that you can't simply swat away the demon. You can't simply swat away years or lifetimes of conditioning. It's better to look at it, say hello, I see you again, welcome. I am not that. I see you are here, but I set you free. You know, the natural state of the awakened mind is that it is always allowing. It is allowing what is coming to come and what is going to go. What wants to stay for a while stays for a while. But in that allowing is the recognition that nothing which is being allowed or received or let go of is who I am. This is the foundation of the question, who am I? If I say, I am confused, the question isn't, am I enlightened? The question is, or am I not enlightened and this confusion is proof of it? The question is, who am I referring to? When the mind says, I am confused, who am I referring to? The object, if you will, needs to be the I, not the confusion. The object is the awareness of the experience, not the experience itself. This is the form of inquiry that Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi was pointing toward. Let what comes come, let what goes go. Who is aware? If you say, I am aware, now you're ready. Who is this I? Once you realize that this I that is aware is not the same as what it is aware of, now you can ask with true effectiveness and with a positive bearing of fruit, who am I? What am I? This question becomes possible now because the objects have been left to be whatever they are, good, bad, or indifferent. Clarity or confusion makes no difference. The object is not clarity or confusion. The object is not enlightenment or not. The object is I. Who am I? What is being referred to here? This is the question that leads to transcendence of the experience that I am the body, or I am the mind, or I am the conditioning. And this is not a question with an answer. I've said this to you before, you've all read it. You just keep asking the question so you can enter the silence of your own being. And in the silence of your own being, this recognition will flower. Whether it flowers this moment, or flowers next week, or flowers next year, or flowers in 10 years, it will flower. Keep asking the question. The question has nothing to do with the experiences of the mind, with the experiences of a particular life or a particular incarnation.
Hello, Rishi.
Hello, Alberto.
How are you?
Mm.
It's always a blessing to stay with you and with all the Sangha. So I would like to bring up the topic of the small battles because I think could be useful for all the brothers. I refer with the small battles because when I do the sadhana, when I do the sadhana, or I do the self-inquiry or the self-investigation, for me is the big battle because sometimes it's quite difficult. But the small battles are all these situations when I observe to myself, for example, I have the tendency of eat a sweet or a candy after the meal. So when I have the lunch or the meal, I observe to myself, oh, I want to eat a sweet, I want to eat a candy or a chocolate. Oh, well, and I observe to myself, I want to eat and see what happens. Or I have the tendency of of whispering or talk about others professors in my school, and suddenly I meet another job college, and I suddenly see to myself wanted to whispering or to talk about other professor, and I see to myself, okay, I don't want, I want to talk of this person. So I observe in silence what happens. It's like fighting in these situations to make the other the opposite what ego makes to want. I don't know if
Yes.
are a lot of small battles. So my question is, these small battles are important for the path, for the sadhana, to win these small battles. I don't know if you.
I am not a big believer in fighting battles of any sort.
Yeah.
This comes from years of trying to win these small battles that you're talking about. And you sometimes, of course, you do seem to win a small battle. And so, you know, but in the long run, over a long time, you realize that the very desire to fight the battle, the very desire to win the battle, is all based in a false sense of who I am. And so then it becomes clear that the appropriate battle, if you will, to put it in your terms, is not to win or lose anything in the world, in my diet, in my way of being, with my partner, with my job. There's only one battle. Who are you referring to when you say, I want the sweet? I don't care whether you eat the sweet or not. But ask yourself the question, who are you referring to? When that demand comes from inside, I must have a sweet after I eat. Who is this I that's making this demand?
Who is this I? Who is this I? What wants the sweet? Who is this I? Who is the I who desires sweet? Is the question.
Yes, but it's a question without an answer. So what you are doing when you say I have to fight these small battles here or at work with the other professors or whatever, I have to fight these small battles, I have to have these small victories or these small losses. What you're missing is the main battle. So it's like you're always looking at one little corner of the battle and you're not looking at the battlefield. The field is the ego that wants this kind of engagement. Because if the ego says, if you have a nice meal and then you say, I have to have a sweet, and the ego gets all upset when there's no sweet and there's no treat and there's no candy and there's no ice cream, you are trapped. You are trapped by the idea that you are the body, that you are the taste buds, that you are the addiction to sugar. By some idea, you are trapped.
Yeah.
The only way you can break that trap is to sit there quietly and say, who is wanting this? Who is desiring this? Who am I referring to when I say I?
Yeah.
And this question has no answer. So what happens is that, just to use your simple example of a sweet after a meal, if you simply relax and say, who am I referring to? And then look at that, you will find, of course, nothing. There is no one you are referring to. You may be having the desire on your taste buds or in your mind or in your body. You may be having the desire for a little sugar, a little sweet at the end of the meal. What does that have to do with I? Nothing. There might be the body's craving in some way, but you are not that either. And if you say, who am I referring to when I say I must have a sweet or I must win this battle? You withdraw the attention from that habit pattern and you put it in the heart of being.
Yeah.
This is the only battle that ultimately can be won, is when you have no interest in any other battles. The battles you are having and that you are giving attention to and that you are interested in, they are happening in your mind. They are not truth. There's only one inquiry that leads to the realization of truth. And that is, who am I referring to when I say I want a sweetie, I want this in the relationship, I want that in the relationship, I want this in the job, I want that outcome. Withdraw that attention. Do what you have to do, but always ask. You can do it now. You are right here now. We are having this conversation. Who is having this conversation? Who is interested in answering this question? Who are you referring to when you say, I have this question? Who are you referring to? Tell me. Show me. You see, you believe there's a you, but I don't. In order to answer your question, I have to somehow believe there's a you. In order to believe there's a you, I have to believe there's a me. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in being a me so that this me can talk to that me. No interest in that anymore. Now you become like this. Empty yourself out. You will still interact with life and with people. Things will still come and go. But without this need to battle, without this need to have small victories, just come and go. Everything comes and goes. As soon as there's a need for me to win, there's a need for you to lose. Can you see the separation in that? There's no oneness in that. There's no completion. There's no wholeness. I have to set you over there so that I can win and you can lose. Or so that I can feel better about me, even at your expense.
Yeah, I understand. So I don't have to lose the point. The important point is to see who is desiring, who is who wants to the battle, who wants. This is the mind point. The other is distraction for the mind.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
It's useful.
Good,
Thank
very
you.
good. Yes, very welcome. Thank you, Alberto. There was a time I went through for about a period of a year where I asked myself all of the time, is there something I'm unwilling to lose for enlightenment or for awakening or for realization? What is there in this mind-body experience complex that I'm unwilling to give up or to forfeit? Because what you are unwilling to keep quiet about, what you are unwilling to let go. What you are unwilling to defend is what will prevent you from realizing the truth of your own nature. When you have nothing left to defend, there is no one left to defend. When there is no concept which is more holy to you than the realization of yourself as being consciousness, when there is absolutely nothing that you are unwilling to give up, then you are walking on the path of realization. As Ayakima, famous Buddhist teacher, used to say, then you are being nobody, going nowhere. And yet somehow life goes on. It's a mystery. What happens when you have nothing left to defend? You fall into the heart of being. You are yourself, and you are happy. And all is well and right in your life. The circumstances will be what they are. But the happiness of your own being will be who you are. Please keep in mind, moment by moment and day by day, that there is nothing you need. You don't need to become someone else. You already are that which is aware and awake. Rest deeply. Relax into this true nature. Know that you are love, compassion, kindness. Remember to include yourself and begin there. Every single desire that you have, every desire that every being has, is only the desire for happiness. So why look through all of the objects? Why look through all of the bodies, through all of the sensations, through all of the thoughts? Why not just go straight to the happiness? You're not going to find it in experiences, people, and other. Every desire you have, even the desire for enlightenment or awakening, is the simple and direct heart song of looking for happiness. But if happiness can come, it can also go. So this is not the happiness we're looking for that comes through objects, through othering. The happiness that we are looking for lives here, now, not in the future, not in the past, not even in the present. It lives here as presence, as this deep recognition of being, consciousness, and bliss. All right. I wish you a good day. I hold you in my heart. Thank you for being here. I send you love, compassion, kindness. May it be well. Know yourself as happiness. May you realize the truth of your being. Hari Om Tat Sat.